Hello and welcome to my first video guide. I get the question asked a lot in my chat about Valla, which builds you should take in which situations and which builds you should actually take against certain team comps, certain heroes. So I'm just gonna go shortly over it. I take for granted that you know her abilities. I will mostly just talk about her talents, her builds and her general playstyle. The best build for her right now in the current meta is a mix between multi-shot and auto-attack. Even though multi-shot got nerfed, you still take it in this build, and you will see why later on in this build. So you start with composite arrows into Manticore. Manticore got buffed as well 2 patches ago. It actually does good damage now, together with her auto-attack buffs. Then you go into searing attacks, Rain of Vengeance, which got a buff as well, and it has really good synergy in this build since you want to auto-attack a lot. This build is really focused on auto-attacking a lot and just being safe in the backline. Then you go in 13, you go into Frost Shot. That's the reason why you still go composite arrows. Just because you go Frost Shot, so you have a large AoE, slow, slash sort of utility you add to your team, and will help you with the level 16 talent, which is going to be Executioners. After the auto-attack buff, Executioners does a lot of damage now with her auto-attacks, together with steering attacks and Manticore. And you can take Executioners on her just because you have a slow for yourself. So you have a slow in your kit, and even a slow stun in your kit, or like a short stun in your kit. This build gets even better if you have someone like Arthas in your team, Jaina, or Stitches with Projectile, just in general CC to help you auto-attack more, to prop your Executioners. On level 20 you have to go Blink, because this is a pretty greedy build. You don't have any survivability with this, so the only thing that can help you survive is Bolt of the Storm and the rage on your W, so you just want to stay back. The general playstyle with this build is just to stay in the backline and just auto-attack the closest targets to you and try to slow as many people as possible. And hit your Rain of Vengeance or 2 or 3 guys that are melees or just want to get to you. So you never want to jump on the backline since you need to auto-attack the closest targets to you, otherwise you might die too fast since you don't have the greatest escapes. So you want to use your E as well as an escape. You don't want to jump in unless you want to chase a kill or you know you're gonna survive. Then you can maybe use your E to go in, otherwise you always want to keep your E to jump out. You don't use Q a lot in this build. You mostly just use Q when someone is seeing it out. So the Q hits them entirely, but losing it just like this in a team fight is just wasting mana basically that you can use for searing attacks, W, your tumble, or anything else. Mostly wasting mana, so you might not get too many Ws out. So you don't want your Qs too often unless you're in a 1v1 situation where your entire Q hits a target. A second Valla build is still a standard multi-shot build. You go composite arrows, arsenal, searing attacks, strafe, Frost Shot, Blood for Blood, and Bolt of the Storm. This is a bit safer than the other build. I wouldn't recommend this build that much anymore, but if you're just starting to play Valla, this build is still pretty fine, because you're pretty safe with it. You have a lot of utility, a lot of AoE damage. You go strafe in this build, the reason is you don't have too much auto-attack damage. So this build is mostly focused on putting out a lot of AoE damage in teamfights, and just in general dealing a lot of damage. This build is really good against healers that can only hit one target. As an example, it's good against Tassada, it's really good against Uther. These are just some examples. It's really bad as an example against Malfurion or Karazim, because they have a really good AoE damage, or like AoE heal I mean, to counter your strafe damage and your multi-shot damage. But in general, this build is still fine against a lot of range assassin. As an example, if you play against 3 range assassins and Uther, this build can be still viable. The third build we're going to be looking at is the Q build. It's one of the safest builds for her, and you take it as a counter to melee assassin that just wants to kill you. So you start with Siphoning Arrow to get a heal from your Q, Puncturing Arrow, Repeating Arrow to get 2 Qs out. Level 7 is a big power spike for this build. If you're able to hit your 2 Qs in a team fight, or like in a 1v1, it does a lot of damage to one single target. Level 10 you can go either into Rain of Vengeance or Strafe. Here it depends on how many melees or range assassins or just in general ranged heroes the enemies have. If the enemies only have 1 melee, then Rain of Vengeance might not be the best choice. When you should rather go into Strafe. If the enemies have 2, 3, 4 melees, then Rain of Vengeance is the better choice in this build now as well, since it just got buffed last patch quite a lot. You can also take Rain if you have something like a setup with Maw or Void Prison to just follow it up, or even Washpit. Just like if you have any setup for your Rain of Vengeance, then you can just take Rain of Vengeance almost all the time. I'm just gonna take it here now. On level 13 in this build you have a lot of different choices. You can either go into Space Shield if you're afraid of Zeratul jumping you, or Being one-shotting you, then you can go into Space Shield. Otherwise, you can still go into Frost Shot in this build, just to slow down the enemy front line a bit and to kite a bit easier for your team. Just providing, again, a bit of utility. You can also go into Giant Killer if you face, as an example, Muradin or a Johanna, or just 2 tanks in general. I like doing Giant Killer a lot, so there's a reason why you can go Giant Killer in this build as well. Even though it's focused on dueling, you can still go Giant Killer for extra auto attack damage. On 16.6, on level 16 will mostly be Blood for Blood. Tumble looks nice, or looks like a good talent, but in the end you will just lose way too much mana. So Blood for Blood is the choice here, and on level 20 it's mostly likely gonna be Blink as well. Nexus Frenzy is just way too of a greedy talent for her, since her HP pool is pretty low and she doesn't provide the best escape as well. In this talent build you have kinda survivability with 2 Qs and Blood for Blood. But like I said, you will mostly take this build against melee assassins, so you might have to blink out of the Zero tool or a Sundering or a Kerrigan combo that's jumping on you. So going Nexus Frenzy could work in this build if you go for Giant Killer, but it's not recommended since you will mostly play it against the melee assassins that will try to kill you, so you have to utilize your blink. The 4th build you have on Valla is a full auto attack build. You start with Rancor, go into Manticore, Searing Attacks, Rain of Vengeance, Giant Killer, Blood for Blood, and Bolt of the Storm. Again, you can't take Nexus Frenzy just because you might be too squishy. Or you just don't have any escapes or any survivability. Even though Nexus Frenzy looks really good in this build, I would still not recommend it unless it gets obviously removed in one of the further patches, since Blizzard is slowly moving away from the Bolt of the Storms on range assassins. But for now, that Valla still have Bolt of the Storm, you should go it. The playstyle with this build is also just auto-taking the closest targets to you as often as possible. That's the reason why you go Rain of Vengeance as well, since you don't want to use your time doing Strafe. Strafe just makes you auto-attack damage, obviously not do any damage since you don't auto-attack. So going Strafe in general in auto-attack builds, even in the new one in the Manticore or Manticore multi-shot build, is not recommended just because you want to auto-attack in this build. It's so focused on auto-attacks that you don't want to use or waste 4 seconds on strafing and just wasting a lot of time or just damage in general. I recommend this build against 2 or 3 warriors. As an example, you play against Arthas, Muradin, Sonya, I would take this build, or against 2 range assassins and 2 tanks, I would recommend this build maybe as well. But there might be the Manticore and multi-shot build, might be the superior builds there, but this is a pretty good build against just like a beefy front line that you can just freely auto-attack all the time. And then there's like a bit of fun build. If you want to have a bit of fun, you can go Punishment, Vampiric Assault, Searing Attacks, Rain of Vengeance, Tempered by Discipline, Blood for Blood, and I mean, in this build you have a lot of survivability, but probably still Bolt of the Storm. This build just allows you to stay in teamfights forever. You rank up your passive with your spades a bit, even with the Rain of Vengeance in teamfights, and you get a lot of healing back. This is just like a fun build. The reason why you take Punishment is otherwise it takes too long to ramp up this talent, since you need to auto-take 20 times in a teamfight, and it just takes way too long. But I don't recommend this build, but if you want to have a bit of fun and just almost never die, you can take this build. And like I said, general Valla playstyle is just auto-taking the closest targets to you, slowing the enemies a bit, and just doing as much damage as you can in the teamfight, just keeping your auto-attacks up, consistently auto-taking, using your Searing Attack wins of cooldown, and just helping your team kill the front line or just any target that your team is focusing. Even for Blood, you can sometimes finish off tanks. The main reason why you still go Blood for Blood, or why Blood for Blood is good on Valla, is because her HP pool is not the best, so she is pretty squishy, and she needs some survivability. And if you play against a Muradin or a Johanna, you get a lot of heal back. So you go Blood for Blood, you want to use it on the enemy front line, you want to use it on a tank to heal up. As an example, you're at half HP, or you dropping to half HP, then you want to use Blood for Blood as a heal against a tank if there's nothing to finish off. So now you use it as a heal, and it does actually quite a lot. So that's about it, Valla. I hope you enjoyed this guide. Leave a comment if this is helpful and if I should do more of these in the future. I will put all the builds in the description. And thank you guys a lot for watching, and see you in the next video. Goodbye.